Good morning, everybody. Nick Brown, Superintendent. Welcome to the 21-22 school year. We're excited to get this year up and running and welcoming our students back. We'd like to thank everybody that's been working hard through the summer to get ourselves prepared. The facilities, maintenance, custodial staff, thank you so much to them. Our nursing staff in preparing, our office staff and everything that they have been doing, our transportation, working hard to get the routes all figured out and make sure the kids get here safely. So we'd like to thank all of them for those efforts as they're getting us prepared. We'd also like to thank you because we know during the summer you work hard thinking about what you're going to do with your students and getting an exciting learning environment for them. So we're excited to get the 21-22 school year started. This year we're going to start with the theme Thrive. It means to prosper and flourish, and that's what we're going to do coming out of last year. And Thrive stands for trusted, honored, respected, included, valued every day. That means we're going to do this with each other and our students and our community. We must trust each other and honor each other. We must respect each other. And we must do these things every day. Everybody should be included as we work together to provide such an exciting learning environment for our students. So I hope that you work hard to thrive from last year to this year and into the future. It's going to be an exciting year, and we're very excited to get this year started up. There are a few things we learned about ourselves last year, and one of the most important things that we learned is that relationships are the key to our success. Relationships between our students and our staff, relationships between the school organization and our community and families, and relationships among ourselves. We need to help each other and support each other. As we come from last year into this year and we get ready for another exciting opportunity, we must be prepared to help each other work through these challenging times. Last year we learned that it was the relationships that held us together and made us stronger. It was the relationships that helped the students have successful, engaging environments, either virtually or in person. And so I ask you to please think about the relationships you build with your students, your parents, and yourselves and colleagues, and that we work on those to be there to help each other and support each other. We all experienced last year, but we may have all had different experiences. So we need to help each other and support each other as we move forward. And the last note is a very important message for everybody at every level. You must take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else. Please, please, please take care of yourself. Give yourself time to relax. Give yourself time to enjoy your hobbies. There are times you're just going to have to stop answering the emails and the phones in the evening, which I know is very hard for our educators. They're constantly striving to work for our students. But there are times you need to just turn it off, stop, and relax. That goes for our teachers, our administrators, our nurses. You need to learn to take care of yourself before you can take care of anybody else so we can have strong working relationships for the benefit of our students. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful year this year. We're working to help everybody out as we go through this. We want to thrive into 21 and 22, and we hope that this turns out to be the best year that we've ever had. Thank you very much, and welcome back.
First, I would like to welcome you back for the 2021-2022 school year. My name is Tina Schultz, and I'm the president of MCTA. I am a third grade teacher at Salk. This will be my 22nd year teaching. Like many of you, I'm a graduate of Maryville Schools, class of 1992. I am proud to teach in the school corporation I went to school in. If you are new to our school corporation, I would like to personally welcome you and thank you for choosing to educate our students. It was a pleasure to see you last week, and I look forward to connecting with many of you during the first weeks of school. Let me begin by recognizing our MCTA leadership and thanking them for helping our association thrive. Thank you to Interim Vice President Cheryl Austin, K-6 Vice President Jamie Youngsma, Secretary Dana Winkle, Treasurer Jody Castillo, Membership Chairperson Kristen Queller, and Social Chairperson Stacy Anderson. A special thank you to our building representatives for their dedication to our teachers and leadership in our association. I would also like to recognize the members of the Maryville Education Support Professional Association. They have been very busy getting classrooms ready for us to return and making the buildings as safe and as possible for teachers and students. Please take a moment today to thank them for their hard work during the summer. I realize that times have been challenging. Financings have been challenged. You may think that your membership in the association may be a place for you to save money. Now is not the time to leave us. Through our collective conversations, we get things done. Your voices are heard. Your membership in MCTA is so important. You are the reason our association exists, and your voice in our corporation is never taken for granted. We make our district stronger. If I asked each of the 284 members of MCTA to provide a word that describes our most recent school year, I would probably get 284 distinct words. Some would be positive, some would be negative, and some words I probably could not repeat. The only way I can describe last school year is crazy, insane, and unforgettable. We all learned creative and innovative ways to teach students in a pandemic that will have future implications on instruction. We got to know our students in ways we never had. Our homes became home offices, and for many of us, our work days became incredibly long. In the pandemic, many of us lost sight of work boundaries, or for many of us, including myself, the pandemic realized what was missing: work boundaries. Some of you may find this back-to-school speech a bit unconventional. This year, my message is less inspiring and more about thriving. I want to share my personal journey for a moment so that you understand why I felt this message was so important this year. I grew up in a household with two working parents. My mom would work early mornings as a manager at McDonald's and be gone before I got on the bus. My father was a manager in the blast furnace at U.S. Steel. Both of my parents worked very hard at their jobs, and rarely did the end of a shift mean it was time to go home. They both dedicated extra time to their jobs because they believed in what they were doing. I saw this strong work ethic in my parents and developed the same attitude toward my career when I began teaching. I felt driven to put 110% into being the best teacher ever. I put my career before so many personal events for most of my 21 years in the profession. So when the pandemic started, I was not fazed by the amount of hours I was putting in each day. However, workload and stress did take their toll on many of my coworkers and teaching friends. Teachers who once had the most positive outlook were shutting down and giving up. Morale in many school corporations had plummeted. As a profession, we were not okay. However, I thought I was okay. I thought I was handling everything just fine. This past spring, I was proudly telling my father how I had inherited his work ethic. In his own way, he very subtly told me that he wished I didn't have his work ethic. Then, my mother reminded me that I needed to take care of myself before my job kills me. After a couple of unexpected doctor visits, my wake-up call had arrived. No matter how much I love my job, I had to take care of myself first, or what's the point of everything else? I have to take care of myself, or I won't be good to anyone else. When I mentioned the topic of my speech to a couple of coworkers, they felt the message needed to be heard. As one of them pointed out, when you ride in an airplane, they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before you help anyone else put theirs on. As educators, we have to help ourselves first before we can help our students. We have to thrive before our students can thrive. During the pandemic, American teachers went from heroes plotting new pathways for teaching and learning to villains who didn't want to be in classrooms with unvaccinated children and risk spreading viruses to our families at home. In Indiana, we were vilified because we felt we should be towards the front of the line for vaccines. As teachers, we were vilified because we were burnt out, stressed out, depressed, and tired of 12 to 14-hour days. According to a report in Education Week, 84% of teachers surveyed for the article said that teaching had become more stressful than before the pandemic. One of the studies cited found that teachers were more likely to feel stressed and burnt out than any other state and local government sector employee. Another study found that 1/4 of teachers surveyed are likely to leave the profession at the end of the 2021 school year, triple the normal rate of attrition. During a pandemic, our jobs seem to have become more important than our health and well-being, and mental health became a huge concern. Even in Maryville, we started to focus on the physical and mental health of our employees. How can a corporation thrive if the staff is not thriving? One way is to establish a clear work-life balance. In other words, work smarter, not harder, and make time to enjoy life. I didn't say find time. We have to make time. Which leads me to the points I want to leave you with as we begin a new school year. First, we have the right to shut it down at the end of the day. Whatever cutoff time you decide, be it 3:05, 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, shut it down. The mind needs time to decompress. Give it a brain break. You have every right to not respond to emails and phone calls after you end your day. Working all night at home isn't going to help your mental state the following day. Make weekends a work-free zone. Establish clear work-life boundaries and stick to them. Second, do not be afraid to say no. So many times we volunteer for things because we don't want to disappoint others. Constantly saying yes can lead to burnout quick. Never feel guilty for wanting to put you first. As I have said before, you have to thrive before your students can thrive. Third, build mental health breaks into your day. Schedule breaks with your students and practice together. Even 2 minutes of daily meditation can help improve your well-being. Make lunchtime a no-work zone and establish boundaries about what can and cannot be discussed during this time. Talk to a coworker if you're feeling overwhelmed or stressed out. We're here for each other. Finally, do not neglect your physical or mental health. Recognize when you need help and get help. Don't put off appointments because of the dreaded subplans. There's nothing in the world worth risking your physical and mental well-being for. As I talk about the need to thrive, a song by the vocal group Casting Crowns keeps playing in my head. The refrain to the song says, "We know we were made for so much more than ordinary lives. It's time for us to more than just survive. We were made to thrive." Let this year be your best year ever. And remember, MCTA is here to help you thrive.
Today is a very special first day of what will be a remarkable, important, and hold your breath and exhale kind of school year that we are all excited to begin. As president of the Maryville School Board, I feel incredibly honored to represent our board, including Vice President Judy Dunlap, Secretary Mark Lucas, Member Jim Donahue, and Member Delana Thomas, in welcoming you to this school year. As a board, we are eternally grateful to all of you for your courage, commitment, and strength during the last 17 months. We wanted to make sure that these words of gratitude will remain in your hearts. So just think about what you were asked to do, and you did it. You were asked to drop everything and prepare materials for our kids to use while we were all trying to build a whole new approach to teaching and learning, and you did it. Some of you were not just teaching from home, but also trying to take care of family and your own children's learning, and you did it. Some of you had to quarantine, but kept teaching from home, and you did it. Some of you had sick family, had babies, were recovering from COVID yourself, and you kept going and helped one another through life. All of you had to learn how to engage kids online and in person, sometimes without the ability to show a smile because of a mask, and you did it. Some of you almost gave up, but you came back this year. And then there's the technology department with equipment and training all over the place, and you did it all. Some of you were responsible for transitioning kindergartners to their first year of public school, fifth graders to intermediate, seventh graders to middle school, freshmen to high school, and seniors to the real world, all while never seeing many of them in person, and you did it. Some of you prepared and delivered thousands of meals to the kids, kept classrooms and buildings clean and safe, and moved kids around in buses knowing the risk. And you not only did it, you did it in a great way. The performing arts had to hold rehearsals through Zoom, and athletics never knew from one week to the next if they would be competing. You kept clubs going with activities, fundraising, and relationship building. You did it, and you should be proud. So many of our kids, families, and staff needed emotional support, and many of you were there with the supplies, referrals, and hugs. But that's right, we couldn't hug, and you did it. As administrators, you had to design solutions to problems that in the past only existed in sci-fi novels, with the administrative assistants by your side, fielding hundreds of calls, texts, and emails, and you did it. Our nurses helped us close, continue, and reopen with advice and caring attitudes. Yes, you did it. There are so many things that went on despite enormous barriers that we see you as heroes who we know can do almost the impossible. So thank you from the board for what you have given. But I cannot end this greeting only reliving what was difficult, challenging, and at times sad. Because this year will be different. It will be different because you have shown that you are resilient, have an innate calling to do your best for our kids, and appreciate what you have in working with the community and what you can give. So I will be ending with a short experience to launch this year with enthusiasm and fun. In March of this year, I happened to watch part of the Texas Rangers baseball game. They were the first Major League Baseball team to open their stadium to their fans. Even though there were differing opinions on whether or not it was wise to have thousands of fans in a stadium at that time, I have to admit that it was one of the most uplifting things that I had seen in months. The enthusiasm that the crowd showed gave me so much hope that we will get through this. As the game began, all of a sudden, like 25,000 people broke out into a wave that appeared as if it was their moment to show the world how happy they were to do something normal. Today we are together as a pirate family throughout the schools and offices, and we must celebrate. So on the count of 3, I hope you will join me in doing a virtual wave to celebrate coming back together and launching a great year. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I know you didn't all do it, but I know you felt it. And with that, have a wonderful, fulfilling year. And when you face a challenge, take time to celebrate that you made it through.